Hi folks, Wooden Boat Dan here. Just wanted to give you a heads up. The podcast you're about to listen to was recorded several years ago, so some of the phone numbers, email addresses, website links, and time-sensitive information are no longer valid. Please keep that in mind as you listen. If you'd like to contact me, my email address is woodenboatdan@gmail.com. Thank you and enjoy the podcast. Welcome to Hooked on Wooden Boats weekly podcast episode number 101. I'm your host, Dan Matson, aka Wooden Boat Dan. If you can't do it, nobody can. And this is the world's first podcast fully dedicated 150% to celebrating the art, craft, history, tradition, and romance of wooden vessels around the world. Welcome to the podcast today, folks. Great to have you on board. It's kind of fun to be in the 3-digit range now with the podcast, number 101 today. Last week was a very special week. I published episode 100 and published my ebook, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. Yeah, we're on 101 now. Can't believe it. Having fun as usual. Today's featured segment is with Barb Traylor, and Barb is a co-director of the Wooden Boat Festival in Port Townsend, Washington. That festival is coming up September 6th through the 8th. It's the 37th annual festival. Wow, 40's just around the corner. Today, Barb talks about what's going to be happening at the 2013 festival, so it's kind of a preview of this event. So stick around for that. I think you're going to enjoy it. It's going to be a lot of fun. This past week was a whirlwind of activity for me. On last Monday, I spent a fair amount of the day recording my 100th episode podcast, and then I worked and got my ebook all ready to be published by Thursday. And then on Thursday, August 15th, I went to Port Townsend and dropped in on the Scamp Camp. It's the third, it's the third one in Port Townsend, I believe, but there's been one or two in Michigan also. And I got to do 3 interviews that day: John Welsford, Laura Prendergast at Pygmy Kayaks, and who was the third one? Oh yeah, it was Barb, the interview I'm going to play today. So it was really an action-packed day. Took some photos of the Scamp builds over there for my own reference on my Scamp. And as I mentioned, I published my ebook last week. It's called Get in the Wooden Boat Game, a guide for building your first boat. I think the book turned out really good. I've had over 100 downloads so far. And there is a special offer on the book through September 9th if you subscribe to my free newsletter at hookedonwoodenboats.com/subscribe. You can get the book for free from now until September 9th. The book is filled with information that'll help you decide what kind of boat you want to build for your first project and give you an idea of how long it will take, what it might cost, what your options are as far as hull design and propulsion and all those things. So there's lots of great information. I would encourage you to check it out. Also, if you're listening and you have your own website, I do have an affiliate program that I'm setting up this week where you could list the book on your website, and if it's sold, you get paid a commission. I've already got some folks signed up for that, so if you are interested, please send me an email. Dan@hookedonwoodenboats.com. Well, let's move on to the Scamp update for this week. Last week I didn't really give an update because I was in the thick of all the other things I was working on. So to date, I've worked on the Scamp 141 hours approximately. Of course, that doesn't include, time you think about working on it and you plan your next move and you clean your shop and all those things. But actually, 141 hours working on the boat, $4,320 invested at this point. I'm not as far along as I hoped. Surprise, surprise. Never heard that from a boat builder before, have you? But actually, it's making good progress. I've got the hull all planked now. I got 6 planks on it, and I've got all the filleting done. all the seams taped that are supposed to be taped. I've started to do some sanding. And my next move is to install the carlins and gunnels. And the carlins are basically 1x2 material, so they're like 3/4 inch by 1.25 or 1.5 inches. And I've got dug fir pieces. They're about 13 feet long. And these suckers have to bend quite a bit, so I spent an hour and a half or so last night building a large steam box. It's not very big in diameter. It's about 5 by 5 inches inside, but it's 16 feet long to accommodate these 13-foot planks. So I'm hoping to get those babies steamed up today and clamp them in place, let them cool off, and then epoxy glue them in place. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Haven't done any steam bending for probably 2 years since I built my skin-on-frame kayak. Maybe 3 years, actually. But steam bending is really a magical thing. You throw your wood in there and you pull it out and you bend it to place and it stays there pretty much. It's really cool. So looking forward to that. Then I'll be on to painting the forward bilge area before I put on the deck and the cabin top, because once you do that, it's not super accessible, only if you can stick your whole body through a 12 by 18 inch opening, which isn't going to happen for me. So anyway, the Scamp's coming along good. I will have her at the Port Townsend Wooden Boat Festival for sale. Yeah, my estimated price right now is $7,000. And that will include a fully assembled kit and so on. If you want more details about that, please shoot me an email. I would appreciate it. Dan@hookedonwoodenboats.com. Last week, the day before I published my ebook, I talked to my friend Pat Lown at Wooden Boat Magazine. Asked her if she would post the Facebook offer or the ebook offer to her Facebook page for Wooden Boat, and she did. And I got basically in the last, within 24 hours, I had 50 or 60 new subscribers to my newsletter. The book's been downloaded now over 100 times, as I mentioned before. And I've had 67 new subscribers to the newsletter in the last week, so that's pretty awesome. Normally I read the names of everybody, but not going to take time to read 67 names today. But I'm really excited that the list is growing pretty significantly, so that's awesome. Just a reminder that the Port Townsend Wooden Boat Festival is September 6th through the 8th. I will be arriving on Thursday, September 5th with my Scamp and my canoe to have at the show. And on September 6th, Friday, I'll be doing a presentation called Build Your First Boat at noon in the Explorer Room. And then on Saturday, September 7th, the same presentation from 1:15 to 2:15. If you can make it, that would be pretty cool. I'd love to meet you. I think the class is going to be fun. I'm going to be very focused. My purpose for doing the class is to encourage people, educate, and inspire them to build their first boat. And I've actually been listening to some tapes on public speaking, and they say, if your message doesn't have a purpose, or even if it has a purpose, but you're not focused on that during your talk, then it's not going to be very effective. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer. So anyway, I'm going to try to be focused, give some good information, and basically going to kind of give some highlights of my ebook that day. So it should be a lot of fun. And even if you don't come to the class, look for me around the grounds there. I'll be doing interviews, hanging out by my boats. And you can also reach me on my cell phone, 425-319-7800. I did get some listener feedback on my voicemail line. And by the way, if you do want to leave a voice message for me, if you enjoy the podcast, I'd really appreciate it. You can go to hookedonwoodenboats.com/voicemail. And that'll take you to a page on your computer where you click the button and leave me a message right from your computer up to 90 seconds in length. And that would be awesome. So I'm going to play an email here. Not an email. I'm going to play a voicemail from Harm Zoodmere. Harm lives in New Zealand. And I forget the town, but it's somewhere in New Zealand. And he's into wooden boats. He's got a 12-foot Sunburst, which was designed in New Zealand, and also an 18-foot Hartley wooden boat that he's working on. So I'm going to go ahead and roll the tape here. So take it away, Harm.
Hi Dan, it's 8:20 on Monday morning. The kids have just left for school and I'm sitting at my desk in my office overlooking Lake Okaraka and Rotorua. In the foreground are my girls, one on a trailer and standing ready in the starting blocks for when the weather improves is my trusted 12-foot sunburst. Also undercover but patiently awaiting my attention is the restoration project, my 18-foot Hartley. As you'll understand, it's very, very difficult sitting behind my desk and trying to do some work. I'm sending this message to say that I'm enjoying your podcast immensely and look forward to every Friday evening when I can download your latest through my iTunes. You're creating a huge, valuable collection of stories and experiences from time-honoured craft and relationship of people and the seas and the waters we live by. Not only to mention the myriad of stories from guys simply tinkering on their boats. I think it's great that for the enthusiasts like me who live outside of the US can enjoy these stories and experiences. It makes the world a better place. Keep it up and looking forward to the next podcast. All right, goodbye.
Thanks for your feedback today, Harm. That's awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. Keep up the great work there in New Zealand. Okay, we're going to move on to the interview with Barb Traylor, who is a co-director of the Wooden Boat Festival in Port Townsend, Washington. So take it away, Barb. It is August 15th, 2013. I am sitting at the Northwest Maritime Center with Barb Traylor. Barb, welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you.
Good to have you on board. Barb is the co-director, one of the co-directors of the Port Townsend Wooden Boat Festival, which is in its 37th year this year. Is that right, Barb?
That's right.
Yeah, very cool. And so we're going to talk about the festival for people that haven't been, and even for those that have, some of the fun stuff going on. But before we do that, Barb, let's start. Give us a little bit of personal history about yourself, what you've been up to.
Well, what I've been up to the past couple years is running the festival, and that takes up a good portion of our time, and it's a lot of fun. It's a really fun job. But how I got here was when I was 23, I moved from Colorado. I lived in a small town, and a bunch of my friends lived down on St. John in the Caribbean, and so I moved there. And, of course, got into boating and sailing down there, and within a few years was cooking on the W in Ragland, which is a 100-foot schooner owned by Neil Young, and that was a big fun job I had for 5 years, and met my husband on that boat. And we went on and sailed. We ran a 88-foot Sparkman Stephens Ketch for several years and did about 50,000 miles in 4 years on that boat. Went through the canal 8 times in 4 years and up and down each coast. So that was, some pretty hardcore sailing and on a great boat. On a great boat. Yeah. And then we got on a 160-foot power boat called Viva. And that boat was built here in Port Townsend. So we spent a few years here. We had a lot of history here in Port Townsend anyway, even though neither of us had lived here. But we were here for 3 years during the build of that boat, and then went off traveling all through Europe and all over on that boat as well. So then I came back and had a child and raised her she's 16 now, and volunteered at the festival for several years. I worked on docks and I worked in the food court, and I worked all aspects of it. And then a couple years ago, Carrie and I ran the bar for Casey, and we had such a good time. I mean, we had a blast. And then right after that, Casey left this position. So we asked...
That's Casey Cronkite?
That's Casey Cronkite, yeah. Right. She ran the festival for 10 years, very, very successfully. And she decided to leave. And so we approached Jake and asked if he would consider hiring us as a team. And that's been a lot.
Carrie, what's Carrie's last name?
Carrie Andrews.
Andrews, okay.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun.
Wow, so you've been working together. This is your second year doing the festival then?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I'm just curious, did your family do any boating when you were growing up?
Not at all. No,
really?
We were, I grew up in Minnesota, and then we moved to Colorado, and we skied. We were skiers.
Yeah, so it wasn't until you went to the Caribbean that you started doing some boating, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Did you fall in love with it right away, or did it take a while? Or?
No, it didn't take any time at all, but everything's good in the Caribbean. I fell in love with everything.
I've never been down there. I'm kind of jealous, Barb.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I was just back for a visit, and it was awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I still have a lot of friends down there.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was good.
So that's a place where you hook up with people and get on a boat and get experience and become a crew and meet people. And
yeah, it's a little harder these days than it was back when I was there, which I don't want to say how many years ago, but it was a lot. These days, people have they go to Florida and they go through crew finders, and that's maybe a bigger hub. Back when I was in the Caribbean, you just move down to St. John, St. Thomas, and walk the docks, walk the Yacht Haven docks. The old timers will remember that, and talk to people and go up to the bar and meet people, and the next thing you'd have a job.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a pretty great
Sounds
time.
pretty fun when you're in your early 20s, especially.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, let's talk about the Port Townsend Wooden Boat Festival. Can you give us a little brief history of the festival?
Sure. The history that I know, 37 years ago, some colorful characters, Carol Hasse and Steve Connor, and I don't know all the names, all the players. I do know that some of them are still here today, which is really fun, on some of the same boats. Alex Spear's boat's been in the festival every year, and Carol Hasse's boat, Lorraine's been in the festival, I believe, every year. So that's really fun that we have that continuity of history. Through the years, the festival has grown and changed. It's stayed true to wooden boats, but it's grown in many ways. And we're up to 77 exhibitors, and these days we have 5 stages of presentations going all 3 days, and
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
How many people attend these days?
Well, that's kind of a moving target. The official number is around 30 to 36,000 people attend the festival.
Over a 3-day period.
Over a 3-day period, yeah.
So give us the dates and times and how much the cost is for this year, Barb.
The official dates are Friday, September 6th through Sunday, September 8th. They're for locals, the Thursday, September 5th is a real nice. We open the festival with the Lifetime Achievement Awards here at 5 p.m. And this year, Marcy Van Cleve's being honored, who's a local legend, still kicking and doing what she does, which is put kids in boats together, which is a really cool thing through the school programs. And unofficially, people can come in, and the bar opens at 5 on Thursday night, and that's all free. People can kind of get a preview. Starting at 9 a.m. on Sunday, we start charging, and it's $15 per day.
9 a.m. on Friday?
On Friday. Okay. It's $15 per adult. Kids 12 and under are free, and you can buy a 3-day pass for $30. So if you plan on coming all 3 days, that's definitely the way to go.
Okay, very cool. So can you give us an overview of some of the schedule and some of the events that are happening this year, Barb?
Sure. Like I said, we have 5 presentation stages going all day, every day. So several indoor and several outdoor stages. On the outdoor stages, we have the boat building, the woodworking, and kind of the mechanical stages. And so if you're more interested in those type of things, they're at the outdoor stages. There's some incredible people coming. Garrett Hack, who's the editor of Fine Woodworking, and a couple very big names in the woodworking scenario. There's some very exciting people. Colin Angus, I'm particularly excited to see. He and his wife are huge adventurers. She was the first woman to row across the Atlantic and has done it just in the past few years. And he was on a solo circumnavigation, human-powered, which means he rode or bicycled across the world. Pretty amazing. He ended up getting sick and ended up crossing Russia in 90 below weathers on a bicycle. So I'm pretty excited to hear that story. So it's not all boats, but it's largely boats. We have Nigel Calders here, and he's obviously one of the most famous how-to speakers between pretty much on the planet. He's very well respected. He'll be here giving 5 free presentations during the weekend.
What kind of topics will he cover?
He covers everything from batteries to can you trust your charts, and really some great
practical navigation
and a lot of mechanical. He's quite good at describing mechanical things to people that don't have a lot of experience. And he is doing a special all-day seminar Thursday, again September 5th, before the festival officially opens, he's doing special seminars, all-day seminars, which is quite a unique opportunity to get to spend a whole day with Nigel Calder. And there is a fee for that. That's $100 for the whole day.
If somebody wants to sign up for that, where would they go to the...
they go to our website, to www.woodenboat.org.
Woodenboat.org, and get information there. Okay, very fun. Now here you've got Wooden Boat Dan giving a couple presentations this week.
Yeah, we're very excited about that. That's right.
I'm building your first wooden boat, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what's some other stuff that's kind of new this year? Some highlights of maybe some of the boats that are going to be here.
Yeah, one of the big things that we're very excited about is Edensaw is hosting a wooden boat building challenge, kind of the Fast and Furious type of boat building challenge, and giving out a $1,000 prize to the winner. Wow. So that's going to be fun, and it'll be all built on site at the Edensaw tent out on the point, and people can. Challengers will come in on Thursday and start building. They'll have all day Friday, all day Saturday, and launch the boat Sunday at noon. And that'll be a really fun and dynamic thing. We'll have a panel of semi-celebrity judges giving the overall prize for best boat, which they take bribes, the whole thing. But that's a fun new thing. The kids area this year is totally revamped to make the event even more kid-friendly. I mean, the Wooden Boat Festival is a very family-friendly event, and having this designated, quite large kids area right inside the main gate will really help that.
What kind of activities will they have for kids?
Well, we'll have the wooden boat building, which is a rite of passage. If any child coming to the Wooden Boat Festival needs to build a little boat. And we'll have the carousel and fish printing and sand art and all kinds of crafts and that kind of knot tying, that kinds of thing.
What is fish printing?
Fish printing is where they actually take a fish and dip it in ink and press it on either a T-shirt or on paper.
Really?
Yeah. The YMCA is coming in this year to help support and run the kids' craft area, which we're very excited about. The Marine Science Center has always done work with us, and they'll be doing oceanography off the dock, and that's new this year. We're letting people use the actual real testing equipment out on our Maritime Center dock.
Wow.
Yeah. One of the other things I don't think people realize is that once you're in the festival, everything's free. You can take your kids out sailing, you can take them for a longboat ride. There's an awful lot of activities, and once you're in the gates, everything is free.
And so there's sign-ups for those different activities, is that right?
That's right, yeah. We have two different sign-ups. For they start for a morning sail, you want to sign up at 9 in the morning, and you can sign up at noon for an afternoon sail. That way, everybody has a chance at getting out on the boats. And we do quite a few rides. They book up fast, so get there early.
Okay. And they also, I think Pygmy Kayaks let you test paddle some of their boats.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah. And they do roll. There's all kinds of things that happen once the festival starts. But yeah, if you want to go out and paddle a kayak, go to Pygmy or Chesapeake Lightcraft, and they're happy to take you out kayaking.
And then I've heard that this year that the commons area out in front of the Northwest Maritime Center is going to be used for boats, a lot of boats from the Port Townsend pocket yachters. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, we're expanding and utilizing the commons area a little bit more. It's not going to be as crowded as it is with the Pocket Yacht Palooza, which is just a blast to have it just crammed full. But because there's so many boats coming and going from anchoring out, we want to leave it a little bit open. But there'll be quite a few boats and booths out there this year, which is new.
Cool, very good. And what are some of the other fun boats that will be here this year, Barb?
Well, it's fun that Lotus is going to be in the harbor this year. Adventurous is turning...
And tell us a little bit about Lotus, maybe.
Well, Lotus is, I think its year is 1892 or something like that. It's in the National Historic Monument Register, which is quite a big thing. Not a lot of boats have made that. And so it's quite special. It's really beautiful and fun down below.
It's a big power boat.
It's a big...
kind of a luxury Edwardian
style. Yeah. And their website tells all their history on it. It's a very cool thing. And it will be in the harbor this year, which we're excited about. She actually rents rooms out on it, so if somebody wants the total experience, they can do that and stay right at the festival.
During the festival?
I think so, yeah.
Really? Very
that's
cool.
pretty
I
fun.
think their website is mvlotus.org.
Yeah, I believe
right?
so, yeah.
Okay.
And the Adventurous is turning 100 this year, and they'll be back.
And the Adventurous is a B.B. Cronnenshield schooner.
That's right, yeah.
That was built in New York or San Francisco. I can't remember.
Boy, I can't remember either. Yeah,
we're
dealing with so many boats right now that differentiate. Like, I didn't even know what day it was.
She's a big boat, and she's 100 years old and really pretty.
And very pretty and great crew. Yeah, we really enjoy them. And the Odyssey will be back this year, and they're turning 75.
And the Odyssey's another schooner.
Another big schooner. It's a Sea Scout boat.
Yeah.
And and then we have quite a few Thunderbirds that will be here. A whole contingency of Thunderbirds who are all right around 50 years old, but 3 of them are 50 this year, so that's pretty fun.
Yeah, and those boats were originally designed down in Gig Harbor, I believe.
That's right,
by Eden Boatworks.
That's right, and we actually own one that's the Caveat is turning 50 this year, and it'll be taking people sailing all weekend.
And that's a 26-foot sloop, is that right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Josh and I, my son sailed on a Thunderbird a couple years ago. It was really fun.
Yeah, they're
very responsive boat.
Very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, very simple. It's an easy way to get into boating, a fairly inexpensive boat, and they last.
Yeah, very cool. So do you have a favorite part of the festival yourself, Barb?
Boy, I think that's pretty hard. I love it all. I really love the people that we meet and the boats and the energy that people bring to the weekend. It's a pretty great job to be talking to people that are, we're putting on the biggest party in the Olympic Peninsula, so it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all my favorite.
Yeah. So do you get paid to do this, Barb?
Yeah, I do get paid to do this.
Seriously? Are you planning on retiring anytime soon? I might give an application to Jake today.
That's right.
You've got one of your drawers.
No, this is a really fun job, and sharing it with Carrie makes it a lot of fun. The laughter is quite loud. It gets a little crazy.
Oh. Well, for those of you listening, when I came into Barb's office this morning and said, Barb, you ready for the podcast? She's like, I thought we were doing that Thursday. And I'm like, oh, is today Wednesday? And it's like, no, it's Thursday. Okay. So,
yeah, that's how busy it gets around here. That we never know what day it is.
Yeah. So for people that are coming to the festival for the very first time, why should they come? I mean, maybe they don't know anything about wooden boats, or they don't, what would you say to them?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity to get the ultimate boating and outdoor experience. For one thing, you're getting outside and spending a beautiful weekend watching people that are very active. They're out enjoying life. They're doing things. I mean, there's 3 days of live music. There's huge outdoor dances. There's sea shanty sings. There's boats that have traveled all over the world. There's adventurers. There's great food. It's just, there's really something for everyone. I know I'm always attracted to activity, and not necessarily, I don't have to go hike a mountain every weekend or even every year, but this is a real fun way for people to get out and experience that passion that people have. And you don't have to have it yourself for wooden boats, but you can feed off of it and enjoy it.
Right.
People are really happy to talk about their adventures and show you their boats and show you their dreams. And one thing that makes this unique also is this isn't a boat show where your boat has to be perfect to be in it. This is about people, maybe they've been sailing all summer, and we love those boats just as much. If they've been out, I really appreciate people that take the time to get out sailing every day. That's awesome.
Yeah, for those that wanted to come by boat, can they anchor in the harbor just outside the harbor
Absolutely.
here and stay there and dinghy in and go to the festival and all that?
Yeah, a lot of people do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for those that maybe wanted to travel here, haven't made arrangements for accommodations, any ideas for what they could do?
Well, it's pretty booked up in town. There's still camping available, and the fairgrounds assures us that they don't fill up. So
that's what I've heard. It's like $15 a night. And
really.
Just come and pitch your tent.
Yeah, so that's a great option. The Inn at Port Ludlow is doing a special for us, and you can go to their marina by boat, and they're running a free shuttle from 9 in the morning till 11 every night. So that's a fabulous option.
Yeah.
If you want to stay out of the hustle and bustle.
Very cool. And you can always sleep in your car too, right?
That's like, I
did that last year.
Did you?
Experienced something new at 58 years old.
We sometimes wonder why we even bother going home when it's 2 a.m. and you got to be back at 7. It's like, why even bother?
Exactly. Yeah. So can you give us a contact information for the festival?
Yes, the best place to go is www.woodenboat.org, and follow all the clicks to the festival pages there. And there you can find all the presenters, who's exhibiting, what boats are there. You can buy your tickets. You can do everything. We also have a Facebook page, which is 2013 Port Townsend Wooden Boat Festival. If you're a Facebook person, you can go there, and there's lots of highlights and lots of activity and people engaging there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. And if somebody wants to call by phone, what's the phone number here, Barb?
360-385-3628, and our extension is 106.
Okay. And then any other new stuff happening here at the festival in the Maritime Center?
There is so much happening here at the Maritime Center. It's just bustling. One of the big things is we're the Crawfords, who are one of the oldest privately owned mariner training schools out of Seattle, are going to start teaching classes out of our pilot house, and they've already started, and we'll be hosting the Pilots Association for classes very soon, which is incredibly exciting. We've got every day, I mean, as you could see when you walked in, there's kids 5 years old out there learning to sail, and there's pilots out, and it's a very busy, active place.
Can you tell me about your pilot house, Barb, for those listening that don't anything about that?
I don't really have, I know it's some of the highest technology available. I can't really speak.
Kind of a simulator?
It's a simulator, absolutely, and you can do training from, I mean, they can do oil drill rescue training on that. They can do so many things on that. It's way over my head. I hate to say, so's my iPhone. So.
Did you get your computer turned on today? That's what I want to know.
I can do all that, but I don't run a lot of simulators.
Simulator is pretty high tech.
It's pretty high tech.
Yeah. So, the other thing we forgot to talk about is all the volunteers at the festival.
That's right. Yeah, we couldn't run this festival without the dedicated volunteers, and it's one of the real sweet stories behind the festival, too. Like, some of these volunteers have been doing this for 10, 20 years and wouldn't miss it and build their lives around it. And there's a lot of heart in that. And that's one of the reasons the festival has so much heart, is it's not built on maybe sanity and money. It's built on heart. Yeah. It's a really very cool thing. I mean, Dan Evans, the captain of the Adventurous, is our main harbor master. And, that's just incredible when you're raising a family and have this big job to take this on as well. All of the volunteers are family people. They have jobs. They have kids. Nicole Sexton, our volunteer coordinator, shared that job last year, and she had a brand new baby. And so this year, Eleanor's 1 year old, and she's doing it again. So it's really quite lovely to see the volunteers that do it, and they get hooked because it's fun. We have a lot of fun.
They're hooked on wooden boats.
They're hooked on wooden boats, Dan. Of course they are.
I like that slogan. Yeah. Well, my experience is in the wooden boat community, people are really passionate about what they do. And so, like you say, they're not here to make money, because if they want to make money, they go be a surgeon, right?
Right.
But if they want to have fun and get to know other people, it's a great place to do that.
It really is, and I think that really is my favorite part of the festival, because when you talk to people, a lot of the exhibitors have figured out how to make boating, which is their passion, their life and their lifestyle, and they're happy. That's what's great. They're happy, and they're out sailing, and they have a boat that they love, and they've turned that into a career, and that's fun. Yeah,
you get paid to do what you love to do. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So you have a wooden boat yourself, Barb, right now?
I do. We have the Bill Garden schooner Toadstool.
Okay, yeah. Can you tell me just a little bit about that?
Sure. I haven't been on it much this summer. Unfortunately, Toadstool doesn't get sailed as much as she used to. Bill took her out every day the whole time he had her for 35 years. And
so it was his personal boat? It was his personal boat. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was his personal boat. And we got it before Bill passed away. Yeah. And my husband, it's very dear to him. And he's gone most of the summer, so we don't sail it as much as we'd love. It's a great little sailboat. It's a beautiful little school. It's $29 on deck.
Yeah.
But we pay for a 40-foot slip because it's got a big bowsprit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is it a schooner rig?
It's a schooner rig, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Carvel planked.
Yeah, very sweet little boat.
Did Bill build it himself?
He built it
design
himself.
it?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, it's a very sweet little boat.
So he moved to Canada later in life, right? So he would have had that boat in Seattle to begin with, or not?
No, I think he built it up on his island, but I might be speaking up wrong there. I thought he built it up there.
Sounds like a sweet boat.
It's a very sweet little boat.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you'd like to add today, Barb?
No, we'd love to see everybody at the festival. It's a great time. It's there's something there for everyone. Even if you just like music, you know that at night the festival grounds are open at night. So even if you want to just come down and have a beer and listen to some great music, we've got some great bands on Friday and Saturday night and good dancing.
Very good. Well, I appreciate your time today, Barb. Thanks for being on the podcast, and I hope that all the listeners that are out there will be coming to the festival this year.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot, Barb. Take care. Thanks, Barb, for taking the time for the interview. It was fun sitting down and chatting. That's really awesome that you own a boat that Bill Garden owned for 35 years. I didn't realize that. That's really sweet. So look forward to seeing you at the festival here in a couple weeks. You can connect with me by email, dan@hookedonwoodenboats.com. Subscribe to my newsletter at hookedonwoodenboats.com/subscribe. And just a reminder there that if you subscribe before or by September 9th, you can get a free copy of my ebook, Get in the Wooden Boat Game, a guide for building your first boat. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and YouTube if you look for Wooden Boat Dan there. And you can leave me a voice message, as I discussed before, hookedonwoodenboats.com/voicemail. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can go to my homepage, and I've got some banners there to the right for Amazon, Jamestown Distributors, West Marine. If you click on those banners, you get redirected to their site, and if you make a purchase, I get paid a small commission. And also, I've got an ebook on my site written by Russell Brown about epoxy usage for wooden boat building. He's an expert at it. And if you click on the icon there of Russell's book, that'll redirect you to a page where you can purchase it. And if you do that, I get paid a small commission, and the price of the book is $5.99. I did buy it myself, and it's really great, so I would encourage you to do that. Well, that's all for today, folks. Thanks for tuning in again. It's been great to have you on board. We'll look forward to episode 102 next week. Keep the bright side up and the barnacled side down. Wooden Boat Dan over and out. God bless.